Jai Hind everyone. In today's class, I am going to discuss about electrocyclic reactions. In my last class, I have discussed about symmetry properties of molecular orbitals. Okay, so now we are going to start first class of pericyclic reactions, and it is electrocyclic reactions, and you will need to understand the mechanism, stereochemistry, rotation of orbitals, these all with the help of the Homo-LUMO approach or symmetry properties of the molecular orbitals. So that concept must be clear. If there is some problem in that topic, then you must rewatch that particular video. So electrocyclic reactions are those intramolecular cyclization reactions in which conjugated polyenes under thermal or photochemical conditions form cyclic compounds and vice versa. Means polyenes may convert into cyclic enes or cyclic enes may convert into polyenes. So basically electrocyclic reactions are of two types: ring closing reactions and ring opening reactions. So the reaction during which 1,3-butadiene is converted into cyclobutene is ring closing reaction, and the opposite of this reaction means cyclobutene to 1,3-butadiene is ring opening reaction. So electrocyclic reactions are of two types: ring closing and ring opening reactions. Here you can see 1,3,5-hexatriene convert into cyclohexadiene. So these are intramolecular cyclization and decyclization reactions. Okay, so first we will discuss about some important characteristics of these reactions. So first one is that these are single molecule reaction. Single molecule reaction means only one reactant take part in these reactions. Number two, the change in number of sigma or pi bond is always plus minus 1. Means either one pi bond get converted into one sigma bond or one sigma bond get converted into pi bond. So in ring closing reactions, pi bond get converted into sigma bond and sigma bond get converted into pi bond. These reactions are reversible in nature. Okay, so these are reversible in nature, but there are some examples of irreversible electrocyclic reactions. Number 4. During electrocyclic reactions, the terminal orbitals rotate to form pi or sigma bond. Means the process of making of sigma bond or breaking of sigma bond, right? The process of making or breaking of sigma bond is performed by terminal p orbitals, right? So the main role in the formation of this bond, sigma bond, is of the terminal p orbitals. Next is, these reactions are stereo selective in nature. These reactions are stereo selective in nature. What is the meaning of this word stereo selective? Stereo selective means one stereoisomer is formed exclusively if there is possibility of formation of many stereoisomers, right? Okay, if during a reaction there is possibility of formation of loads of stereoisomers, then out of which only one will be formed exclusively. So these are stereo selective in nature. At the same time, these reactions are also stereo specific. Okay, stereo selective as well as stereo specific in nature. What is the meaning of this word stereo specific? Stereo specific means one isomer will form only one stereoisomeric product, right? And opposite isomer will form opposite stereoisomer. So these are stereo selective as well as stereo specific in nature. Next is the stereochemical outcome of these reactions depends upon two factors. Number one, number of bonds, number of pi bonds in the polyene, and number two, the condition applied. Okay, so the stereochemical outcome of these reaction depends upon two conditions. How many double bonds are there in that particular reacting polyene, and number two, which condition we are providing to that particular polyene, whether it is thermal or photochemical. So the stereochemical outcome will depend upon these two factors. And the last characteristic of these reactions is, during electrocyclic reactions, a cyclic transition state is formed. Okay, so when these electrocyclic reactions take place, during which a cyclic transition state is formed, and what is the specific feature of these cyclic transition states? These cyclic transition states either have foreign pi electrons or 4n+2 pi electrons, right? So these are the important characteristics of the electrocyclic reactions. Okay. So, to explain the mechanism of pericyclic reaction, three approaches are used. These approaches are proposed to explain the pericyclic reactions. So these three methods are Woodward-Hofmann or Hofmann-Woodward reaction, Hofmann-Woodward rules of correlation diagrams. This is first method. Second is frontier molecular orbital approach. It is also known as HOMO-LUMO method. And third method is Arthur-Baston molecular orbital method or Mobius-Huckel method. This method was proposed by M.J.S. Dewar, and this FMO method was proposed by Fukui Kenichi. So these are the three methods that we use one by one to explain electrocyclic reactions. So first we will talk about the FMO approach or HOMO-LUMO method. Okay, so first method is frontier molecular approach or HOMO-LUMO method. This method was proposed by Kenichi Fukui in 1952. Okay, so how this method explain electrocyclic reactions? So this, according to this method, in the formation of a sigma bond during the ring closing reaction, the HOMO of polyene take part to form the sigma bond on the expense of pi bond. Okay, so HOMO take part in the process of formation of sigma bond. What is HOMO? HOMO is highest occupied molecular orbital. So the question is, why only HOMO can take part in electrocyclic reactions, or why FMO approach talk about the highest occupied molecular orbital, not about the remaining orbitals. So as you know that in every type of bond formation, the electrons that are present in valence shell can take part, right? In simple words, the valence shell electrons can only take part in the making of any covalent bond. So here, in this case, in the case of polyenes, the HOMO is the valence shell. And what is valence shell? Valence shell is that cell in which we feel the last electron, right? Here in this case also, in case of HOMO, we feel the last electron. So this HOMO, that is also the valence shell of polyenes take part in the process of either ring closing or ring opening. So, as you know that if first we talk about the ring closing reactions. So, you know that in polyenes the p orbital take part in the process of formation of pi bonds, and you know that p orbitals are parallel to each other. They lie parallel to each other, right? And in the process of formation of pi bond, the lobes can overlap sidewise for the formation of pi bond, right? So I can explain this with the help of these two markers, right? Here I have this one p orbital and this one is another p orbital. So these two orbitals are parallel to each other, okay? And these two orbitals must rotate to form a sigma bond. As you know that during the process of ring closing, one sigma bond is formed on the expense of pi bond. Here we have two pi bonds, and in this case we have only one pi bond, but we have one extra sigma bond. And you know that for the formation of this sigma bond, there must be head to head overlapping of the lobes with same signs, right? When will be maximum overlapping? Maximum overlapping will be in that case only where the overlapping lobes have same signs, right? Here plus plus overlap to form this sigma bond, right? So you can understand this with the help of these two markers, right? I have this blue marker in my right hand. This represents one p orbital, and this black marker in my left hand. This represents the another p orbital. So these two are parallel to each other, right? In this situation, they can form only pi bond. So for the formation of sigma bond, they must rotate in this way. Suppose the cap side of these marker is the plus lobe, and the bottom side is represent the minus lobe. So for the formation of sigma bond, they must rotate, right? So during the process of ring formation, right, ring closing or ring opening, these orbitals must rotate, and they can rotate in two ways. These two ways are known as cone rotatory and disk rotatory. Okay, so now we will try to understand these two processes, cone rotatory and disk rotatory. Okay, so first process is cone rotatory process. What is this cone rotatory process? Okay, so to understand this process, first see this molecular orbital diagram. So these two are terminal orbitals, right? You can see in this orbital the plus lobe is, try to understand these two orbitals, these are parallel to each other, right? In this way you can understand this particular blue marker represent this orbital, and this black marker represent the orbital in lower side. Okay, right. In my right hand I have this orbital. The cap of this marker represent the plus lobe, and in my left hand I have this particular orbital in which this lobe is in downward direction, right? So these two orbitals are lying parallel to each other in this way. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to rotate these orbitals in such a way that the cap or the plus lobe comes in contact with each other. Okay, I can rotate this in such a way. You can see it is anti-clockwise for me and clockwise for you. Both are rotating in same direction. Okay, right. The formation of sigma bond can also take place if two minus lobe comes head to head closer with each other. Okay, in this way, right? So now this is minus lobe, this one is also minus lobe. Now the markers are rotating clockwise for me. From my side it is clockwise rotation. So if the two terminal orbitals have opposite orientation of lobes, right? Opposite orientation with respect to the signs. Okay, the orientation lobes, the upper lobe as well as the downward lobes, both are similar, but we given them plus minus sign on the basis of their wave functions. Okay, so if two terminal orbitals have opposite orientation of lobes, then they must rotate in same direction. Either both rotate clockwise or they both rotate anti-clockwise to form a sigma bond. So this type of rotation in which orbitals rotate in same direction, either clockwise or anti-clockwise, is known as cone rotatory motion. Okay, so let me try to explain this with the help of this rotation. When this rotation takes place, what will we see? Okay, or they can rotate anti-clockwise. By this rotation we will get plus lobes near to each other. Now clockwise or anti-clockwise, but the main thing that must be remembered is that in cone rotatory motion, lobes of both the terminal orbitals rotate in same direction, right? Either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Now see this rotatory motion. Suppose you have the orientation of orbitals like this. Okay, sorry, it is plus, it is minus. Now both the terminal orbitals have same sign of lobes in the same direction. If we talk about the upper direction, the sign of lobes is plus and the sign of downward lobes is minus, right? So orientation is like this. Now for the making of a sigma bond, you have to rotate one orbital in anti-clockwise direction and another orbital in clockwise direction, right? So the rotation of orbital will always be in opposite direction to each other. This is in clockwise, it is in anti-clockwise, clockwise. It is clockwise, it is anti-clockwise, right? So if one is rotating clockwise, then another must rotate anti-clockwise. In that case only they will orient each other to form a covalent sigma bond, right? So after rotation it is minus plus minus plus. Now if I rotate the upper one in anti-clockwise direction and lower one in clockwise direction, then I will see the orientation of lobes like this. Plus plus will overlap and will form a sigma bond. So these two type of rotation are there in electrocyclic reaction, right? Okay, cone rotatory and disc rotatory. In short, it is written as cone and it is written as disc. Okay. Okay, now let us see first example of electrocyclic reaction, and it is cyclization of butadiene. So before starting the cyclization of butadiene, I will remind you the molecular orbitals of butadiene. So in butadiene, 4 p orbitals take part to form 2 pi bonds. How many p orbitals? 4 p orbitals. So 4 p orbitals are taking part. It means we will get 4 molecular orbitals. So here I have 4 molecular orbitals, and these orbitals were made by using 2 ethylene molecules. I hope you remember my second video of pericyclic reactions, in which I explained the formation of the 4 molecular orbitals of ethylene with the 4 molecular orbitals of butadiene with the help of 2 ethylene molecules, and that method is known as perturbation method of making molecular orbitals, or perturbation theory of making of molecular orbitals. So here I have is psi1, psi2, psi3, psi4. In case of psi1 there is one lobe that is in center. Here I have 2 lobes, and in case of psi4 there is 4 lobes, right? Okay. So in case of thermal conditions, psi 2 is HOMO and psi 3 is LUMO. But in case of photochemical condition, one electron jump from psi 2 to psi 3. Now psi 3 become HOMO and psi 4 become LUMO. So as per the FMO approach, we must see the HOMO of the polyenes to make the sigma or pi bond, right? Here we are discussing ring closing reactions, so we will try to make sigma bond with the help of these p orbitals. Okay, so in case of thermal condition, HOMO is psi 2. So first we will discuss about the thermal cyclization or ring closing, right? Thermal cyclization or ring closing. So in case of thermal condition, which orbital is HOMO? That is psi 2. So let me make here the diagram of psi 2. It is psi 2. Now I will draw only the terminal lobes of p orbitals, right? You can see here that the terminal orbitals of p orbital have opposite lobes parallel to each other. Here I have the minus lobe on upward direction and the plus lobe in downward direction, and here in this case in my left hand I have the plus lobe in upward direction and the minus lobe in downward direction, right? So the situation is like this. So what we have to do in case of thermal condition, for the making of a sigma bond, I have to rotate these p orbitals either clockwise or anti-clockwise so that they can overlap, right? So here I will rotate them clockwise. So it is like this. This orbital is like this and this one is oriented like this. So I have to rotate them like this in clockwise direction. Now, so after clockwise rotation, the plus lobes comes in contact with each other, okay, and if I rotate them anti-clockwise, the same thermal condition, then I will get the minus lobes in contact with each other. So in both these cases, the sigma bond will form with maximum overlapping of these two lobes, right? So in case of thermal condition, there will be cone rotatory motion. I hope now you have some idea why we have studied about the HOMO-LUMO or the symmetry properties of the molecular orbitals, right? If the orbital have what type of symmetry this orbital have? This have C2 symmetry, right? So if orbital have C2 symmetry, in that case it will perform cone rotatory motion under thermal condition, right? Okay, and if we have been given photochemical condition, so let us see what will happen. So in photochemical condition, HOMO is side 3. So in case of side 3, the orbitals of terminal, the lobes of terminal orbitals are oriented identically. Identically means the lobes with same sign are oriented in upward direction and the minus lobe again with same sign are oriented in downward direction, right? Now the orientation is like this, okay? So for the making of bond we have to rotate one in clockwise direction, another in anti-clockwise direction, right? Suppose I rotate this lobe in clockwise direction, then I have to rotate this orbital in anti-clockwise direction. So here the orbitals must rotate or perform disrotatory motion, right? So after this rotating motion, suppose this orbital is rotating in clockwise direction and this one is rotating in anti-clockwise direction. Say the orientation is like this, so it will rotate in clockwise direction, it will in anti-clockwise direction. So we will have these two minus lobes in proximity with each other, and if the upper one rotate anti-clockwise, lower one rotate clockwise, then we will have these plus lobes near to each other, and the situation will be like this. So in photochemical condition, which symmetry is present in this psi 3? M. Right? So it is mirror plane symmetry, and mirror plane symmetric orbital will perform this rotatory motion in photochemical condition. Right? So it is the example of butadiene. Cyclization in 135 hexatriene or hex 135 triene. So it is hexatriene. So here we have 3 pi bonds. 3 pi bonds are formed with the help of 6 p orbitals, and 6 p orbitals combine to form 6 molecular orbitals, right? And these 6 molecular orbitals are psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, psi 4, psi 5 and psi 6. Now it is non-bonding energy level. So here in case of thermal situation, psi 3 will be HOMO and psi 4 will be LUMO. Similarly, in photochemical condition, psi 4 become HOMO and psi 5 become LUMO. So it is our psi 3. Psi 3 means 2 nodes. So one node will be here and another will be here. So it is plus plus minus minus and plus plus, right? And it is psi 3. Okay, let me write, it is psi 3. Now psi 4. So I hope you have some idea that if in case of psi 3, if two terminal orbitals have same sign lobes oriented in the same direction, either in upward or downward direction, in that case, in the next orbital, the sign of same direction oriented lobes will be opposite. So here if you have two plus lobes oriented in upward direction, in that case in psi 4 we will have oppositely oriented lobes, right? You can see here in case of psi 4 we have how many nodes? We will have 3 nodes. So out of these 3 nodes, one must be present at the center, because 3 is an odd integer. So one must be present at center, second will be here and third will be here at this place, right? So plus minus minus plus plus or minus, right? So this is the orientation of HOMO and LUMO. It is HOMO in thermal condition and it is HOMO in photochemical condition. So if I apply thermal condition here, then I must rotate these two orbitals, because the orientation of two positive lobes is in upward direction. So I have to rotate this in this direction? No. One in clockwise, another in anti-clockwise. So in that case, I will have same lobes, lobes with same sign in contact with each other, right? The orientation is like this. So I have to rotate one in clockwise direction, another in anti-clockwise. It is in clockwise, it is in anti-clockwise. So let me write here plus minus anti-clockwise clockwise. So it is this rotatory motion, right? And in case of this psi 4, the orientation is like this. One is in upward direction, positive lobe. I am talking about positive lobe. One lobe is in upward direction and another lobe is in downward direction. So I have to rotate in same direction, both the orbitals in the same direction, either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So here the orientation is like this. So what I have to do? I have to rotate in the lobes in the same direction. Okay. So after rotation, say I am rotating this in clockwise direction. So I will get it is plus. So now will orient in such a way that the minus lobes will comes in contact with each other. Okay, so it is the ring closing in case of hexarachid, right? In thermal condition, it will perform disrotatory motion, and in photochemical conditions, it will perform cone rotatory motion. So let me generalize here the rules for the ring closing process. In case of butadiene, how many electrons were there? 4 electrons. Okay, so in thermal condition, the rotation was cone rotatory. Okay, and in photochemical condition, the rotation was disrotatory. And here I have the 4n plus 2 pi electron system. Hexatriene is 4n plus 2 pi electron system, and butadiene was 4n pi electron system. In thermal condition, disrotatory, and in photochemical condition, cone rotatory. So it is the table for generalized rules. Okay, if the polyene have 4n pi electron system, then it will perform cone rotatory motion in thermal condition, and if it have 4n plus 2 pi electron, then in that case it will perform disrotatory motion in thermal condition. So the easy way to remember these pericyclic reaction is that take only the example of one system. Let me take the example of this system, 4n plus 2 pi electron system. Okay, it is easy. We study 4n plus 2 pi electron system in case of aromatic compounds. So in case of all the photochemical reaction, every type of photochemical reaction, we will make the short trick with the help of this 4n plus 2 pi electron system. So in thermal condition, it is disrotatory. Thermal, disrotatory, photochemical, cone rotatory, right? So we can write PCTD. What is the meaning of this PCTD? It is short trick. Photochemical, cone rotatory. Thermal, disrotatory. Okay, so let me write here. The short trick is for 4n plus 2 pi electron system. Okay, if the system is let me take the value of n is equal to 1, so it will become 6 pi electron system. For 6 pi electron system, it is in photochemical condition cone rotatory, in thermal condition disrotatory. So if the number of electron decreases, say for 4 electron system, what will become the situation? In photochemical disrotatory, and in thermal it will become cone rotatory. Say by using this trick, you can predict the motion for every type of polyene system. Okay. Okay. Now let us discuss few example of electrocyclic ring opening process. Right. So here I have 4 pi electron system. Actually, this sigma bond is formed with the help of these two orbitals. So we must consider these two as pi electrons, right? So it is our 4 pi electron system. Now there is the condition of photochemical. Photochemical means we have to consider the psi 3, right? And in photochemical condition, in case of 6 pi electrons, in photochemical condition it performs cone rotatory, and it is 2 electron less as compared to 6 pi electron system. So in photochemical condition it will perform disrotatory motion. Disrotatory motion means one will rotate in clockwise direction and another in anti-clockwise direction. Suppose it is rotating in clockwise direction. Let me write here. Okay. The orientation of this CS to CS3 is like this. If I rotate in clockwise, it will go away from the second one, right? So in case of first type of rotation, I will get this butadiene. Actually it is hexene, right? And if I rotate them in like this one is in anti-clockwise and this one is in clockwise, so I will get the product having CS3 unit to CS3 near to each other. Okay, so you can compare these two products, right? In case of this particular reactant, we have two choice. Either we have to rotate this in clockwise direction, this one is in anti-clockwise direction, or this one is in anti-clockwise and this in clockwise direction. So if I rotate this particular CS3 in anti-clockwise direction, then I will get this particular product. And you know that these two large groups will come in near to each other, right? So it is less stable as compared to this particular product. So the rotation for these two orbitals will like in such a way that these two methyl groups remain away from each other. And the next situation is same, but we have here thermal situation. So you know that in thermal situation it will perform cone rotatory motion. Cone rotatory motion means one will both the lobes will rotate in such a way that the same sign lobe will come parallel to each other, right? So it will perform cone rotatory motion. Here it will perform this rotatory, and here in this case it will perform cone rotatory motion. So let me take the example of this. Let me explain the orientation of these CS3 units with the help of these two markers. These are oriented in such a way that one is in my direction and another CS3 unit is in the downward direction towards the board, right? So if I rotate these in this direction, I will get this product. Okay, and if I rotate these two like this, then I will get these two products. So same situation is here also. So it will perform what type of motion? It will perform clockwise motion to form the more stable product. And this particular example is for you. Make the product from this particular reactant in both the situations. in thermal as well as photochemical condition. Okay, so today we have discussed about electrocyclic reactions, their important characteristics, and after that we have discussed the FMO approach or HOMO-LUMO approach to explain the process of or the mechanism of electrocyclic reactions. I hope you get the main idea of this particular approach. Still, if you have any problem in understanding of this particular concept, let me know about that particular problem without any hesitation. Okay, thank you very much, students.